Jordan Sheridan, coming to you live from the mothership. It is 5 o'clock Eastern Time. It is dark in New York City. It is 4 o'clock Central Time. It is 3 o'clock Mountain Time. It is 2 o'clock Pacific Time. Who the hell knows what time it is in Europe and the North Pole? But, boy, yes, 5 minutes early. Because I like being on time. So I was a little late. To get the countdown clock up. Because I'm doing, God, if you guys knew how much I'm doing behind the scenes to grow Status Coup, to grow this bad boy, if you guys knew everything I'm doing, I'm like running around like a with my tail between my legs to get this thing moving. And honestly, I'm still recovering. For those of you who shared history, we created history yet. Oh, sorry, Illustrator, you were meal prepping. I was live yesterday. We were live yesterday for 8 hours. 8 hours for the Sunday Super Duper Chat / GoFundMe marathon. 8 hours we were live. I'm still recovering. I'm exhausted, to tell you the truth. We were live for 8 hours yesterday. So thank you to Jen, who was with us for that whole 8 hours. Thank you to Ty and Colin, who edited some of the great interviews that we aired during the marathon yesterday. Thank you to Squirrel Lips, getting us started today with $1.99 on the Super Chat. Squirrel Lips, a male squirrel, might I add. A male squirrel. Always getting us started in the Super Chat. And we've already posted some of those, some of yesterday's live stream. If you missed my interview with journalist Aaron Mate, we put that up this morning, so you can watch that. We also put up my interview with Jonathan Sokolow. He is an attorney. He's a writer and an activist down in Virginia fighting the Democratic Governor Ralph Northam, who is selling out Virginia to the highest fossil fuel bidder. And he is fighting the Mountain Valley Pipeline and the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. Super important interviews. And we're gonna also have other clips. It's an 8-hour live stream, and haven't had a chance to get to my editor what I want him to cut. So anyway, and for those of you asking, Ty is still with Status Coup, but he is in the witness protection program. More importantly, he is working day and night to finish this documentary on Flint and our reporting in Flint that we're going to release early next year. So he's literally staying up. I think he usually works overnight, and he's staying up till 6, 7 in the morning, burning the midnight oil, editing, and he's also doing some cool things, shooting some cool little scenes to start out the documentary, and cool camera angles and stuff. The stuff he sent me is really cool. So we shall have him back soon. Now, I want to give you an update. Yesterday, while I was live 8 hours. Hold on. Stick with me for a second as I get the screen to work. We raised almost $1,200 between our GoFundMe and Super Chat and new paid members. So we're now at 27,581 in the GoFundMe. Very proud of that. And we passed 500 donors yesterday. So thank you to every single person who has donated so far. Thank you to the people who donated yesterday. Obviously, you know the drill. We're raising money. We're trying to hit 50,000 so that we could get back out in the field and stay out in the field for a considerable amount of time, long term. Obviously, going back in the field is how we feel, Jen and I and Ty, are going to grow this business. Our long-term business model is not GoFundMe, obviously. It's to get paid monthly members. And now we have 51 paid members. We just launched our paid membership through our website like 3 weeks ago. So now we have 51 members. So remember to go to statuscoup.com, click on Become a Member, and you can see the options, $5 or $10 a month. You get different perks at different levels. We are going to create a higher level too, because we've had several people ask us how they could contribute more. So we're going to make a higher level available with some additional perks. And more importantly, obviously, you get bonus content, behind the scenes, all that good stuff. But this is how this is how we support independent media, real independent media, not the kind of independent media that say they're independent but are not. We're independent. That's why I'm doing all day Sunday marathons. That's why I'm working 7 days a week, so we could grow this in a grassroots way where we're taking money from actual working people and viewers instead of taking money from plutocrats and the very people that are destroying this country. So I really hope, maybe you can't do it before the holidays, but I really hope you'll consider becoming a member as low as $5 a month or $10 a month. And again, go to statuscoup.com, check it out. And before I start my first topic, remember, folks, you have a checklist when you come to Status Coup's live stream. You have a checklist. Like this live stream. Press the like button. Yesterday we showed you what happens when you press that like button. So as soon as everybody started liking the live stream, all of a sudden we got up to 250 live viewers, which is high for us considering YouTube is suppressing the hell out of us. So when you when you like the live stream, for whatever reason, YouTube's algorithm works in a way where press the like button, and it gets seen by more people. So yesterday, I think 300 something people liked it, and we got up to over 250 viewers at one point. So please try to remember when you come here. I don't even care if you could dislike me. I don't even care if you like me. Just press the like button. I'll take people who dislike me and press the like button. So there's 80 people watching right now and only 48 likes. If everybody likes it, I promise you the audience is going to grow. I already told you, go to statuscoup.com, check it out, become a member. Follow us at statuscoup on Twitter. Subscribe to our podcast. There's the link, and rate us 5 stars. Podcast is another source of another way we're going to grow our revenue and build a sustainable company. And go to the evil empire, which is Facebook, because they are fucking evil. Ooh, demonetized. I cursed. There goes the money for this video. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/statuscoup. So I always keep it real with you guys. I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff for the business today, so I didn't have a lot of time to research before my live stream, but I get the gist. So I had Aaron Mate on yesterday during the Sunday marathon, and I think he provided some much needed facts to, offer a little nuance, offer a little let's all calm down with the hysteria over RussiaGate for a second. And he offered facts, which is something journalists should do. But you don't really see a lot of facts when it comes to RussiaGate these days. You just see a Cold War reenactment. Guillaume Lescator says, I'll become a status slayer after this second job money kicks in. Appreciate it, baby. Like I say, even if you guys can't become paid members now, if you can after the holidays, if you can, whenever you can. The more people that subscribe at $5 a month or $10 a month, the larger we're going to grow. And by the way, we are looking for larger funding, and part of what's going to attract larger funding is showing them we already have a nice army of paid subscribers, which is something they want to see. So, I've always said I'm okay with the Mueller investigation. I think that's fine. Have an investigation. If his campaign actually colluded with the Russian government, then to hack emails or distribute Hillary Clinton or Podesta's emails or the DNC's emails, that would be a scandal. So if Mueller has that, let us know. So far, there's been no evidence of that. Despite what Rachel Maddow says, there's no evidence yet of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government to hack the DNC, hack Podesta, hack your brains, and distribute those emails. It just doesn't exist. That doesn't mean I like Trump. Of course I don't like Trump. He's terrible. But you could not like Trump, but also provide facts on Russia. So Aaron offered a lot of facts, and then, oh my God, today, this story in the New York Times came out that is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so ridiculous. Russian 2016 influence operation targeted African Americans on social media. The Russian influence campaign on social media in the 2016 election made an extraordinary effort to target African Americans, used an array of tactics to try to suppress turnout among Democratic voters, and unleashed a blizzard of activity on Instagram that rivaled or exceeded its posts on Facebook, according to a report produced for the Senate Intelligence Committee. The report adds new details of the portrait that has emerged over the last 2 years of the energy and imagination of the Russian effort to sway American opinion and divide the country, which the authors said continues to this day. So right there, you're already hearing it. You know, they swayed public opinion. You know, they swayed American opinion to divide the country. That's the notion that's being put out there, folks. That's the notion that's being put out there, that somehow the Russian government has been able to literally brainwash you to not want to vote for a neoliberal, corporate, bought-off, warmongering candidate in Hillary Clinton. They just through posts on Facebook, through posts on Instagram, through fake Facebook groups, they brainwash people. And I'm not trying to act condescending. I'm just telling you what they're saying. Game and Grind says the Democrats lost because they ran a corporate war criminal. I actually agree with that. But, you know, this notion that they are brainwashing African Americans, besides being utterly racist, is utterly preposterous. So basically, this, and I'm going to get more into who actually authored this report, because, of course, the New York Times doesn't care who authored it. They'll take it from a homeless guy in the street. They'll take it from anyone. If it says that people are being brainwashed by Russia as an excuse for Hillary Clinton losing, they'll take it from anyone. But I think this, and I tweeted about this earlier, I think we're at a really, really dangerous point in this McCarthyism 2.0. I really do. And at a certain point, thank you, Amanda, $5 in the super chat. Remember, this is a super chat. You could contribute through GoFundMe. We definitely are pushing that GoFundMe. Our overall goal is $50,000, but our short-term goal is to raise $30,000 before the end of 2018. So we're not so far. We're at $27,581. So we got $2,400 something to go. So I think we could do it. We could get to 30,000 by the end of this year. So, you know, it's just so stupid. It's stupid. The whole notion that Russian trolls or emails going on, there is no empirical data. I fought with someone on Twitter today. There is no data. There is no exit polls that show that Russia swayed voters in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in yes, I am sick, so show me some love. I just took Dayquil, actually. There's no data. There's no exit polls that show Russia had even a 2% impact on the election. And I could tell you because while I was at the Young Turks, reported on the ground in Wisconsin. I reported on the ground in Ohio. I reported on the ground in Pennsylvania. I reported on the ground in Ohio. I covered, and I got the therapy bills to prove it. I covered, I think, between 40 and 50 Trump rallies. Most of them actually were in those states, in the Rust Belt. So I was there. These idiots on Twitter were not. I was there. Neera Tanden was not. I interviewed, and I'm not bragging about this, I literally still require therapy for it. I interviewed hundreds of Trump supporters in 2016 on the road. Many of those videos went viral because of the Trump supporters' stupidity, frankly. I would put down the very, very limited personal money I have, not status quo's money, but the very limited personal money I have. And I would tell you, Russia had absolutely nothing to do with why voters in Wisconsin, voters in Michigan, voters in Ohio, and voters in Pennsylvania voted for Donald Trump. I could also tell you that Russia had very little to do with why 5% less African Americans came out for Hillary Clinton versus Barack Obama in 2012. 5% less African Americans came out for Hillary Clinton. Okay? 5% less Latinos came out for Hillary Clinton as compared to Barack Obama. 6% less aged 18 to 29. Aged 18 to 29, so the millennial voters, came out for Hillary Clinton as opposed to Barack Obama. So that's 5% less black people, 5% less brown people, and 6% less millennials. I am telling you why they did not come out. Hillary Clinton was not a good candidate. Forget what you even think about her political viewpoints. She was not a good candidate. She inspired a lot of women, yes. She inspired a lot of older Americans, yes. She did not inspire millennials. She did not inspire, especially millennial black people. And she did not inspire a lot of Latinos. And she did not convince them that they needed to come out. Do you really think 5% of the African American population didn't come out because they saw stuff on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram from Russia? Or 5% Latinos didn't come out in those states because they saw stuff from Russian trolls? It's, besides being racist and insulting to African Americans, there's zero data. There's no data that backs this up. If you actually read the exit polls of the 2016 campaign, which I did, if you read the exit polls, trade, NAFTA played a big part in those states on why they voted for Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump said he was basically going to get rid of NAFTA. Immigration played a big part in those states because Donald Trump is a racist, an anti-immigrant. I mean, let's call it what it is. And the fact that he portrayed himself, even though he was faking it and lying, he portrayed himself as an anti-establishment, take it to the banks, take it to the puppets. Creative Experiment says, TYT said Midwesterners are too stupid to understand the TPP and NAFTA. I totally disagree with my former employer. Because I could tell you, because I interviewed a lot of the Midwesterners, it's not hard to understand when you lose your job and it gets sold to Mexico and China. It's not so complicated to understand. So I disagree with the Young Turks if that's what they're saying. Millions of people in Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania since the late 1980s have lost their jobs and their factories have closed down, and it's been sold to China and Mexico, in large part because of what Bill Clinton did and Hillary Clinton supported. That's the truth, and that has nothing to do with Russia. And I could tell you, because I was at these rallies, Trump had these people at NAFTA. You know how Jerry Maguire says, he had me at hello? Or not Jerry Maguire, but the Renee Zellweger and Jerry Maguire says, he had me at hello. Trump had them at NAFTA. This is not my opinion. This is what I actually saw on the road at these rallies. I was there. I was there. I covered 40 to 50 Trump rallies. So let me read you a little bit more of this ridiculous story. And press the share button. And remember, like this video. There's 140 people watching. There's only 70 likes. We need to get every single person to like this video, because the more people that like the live stream, the more people that see the live stream, because YouTube, unfortunately, is suppressing the hell out of this channel, as usual. So not only was it the black people that they went after, apparently Russia targeted the Bernie Sanders supporters too. Quote, active and ongoing interference operations remain on several platforms, says the report produced by New Knowledge, a cybersecurity company based in Austin, Texas, along with researchers at Columbia University and Canfield Research. And wait till I explain to you a little bit more about New Knowledge. Because, of course, New Knowledge is basically a bunch of hacks from the federal government. One continuing Russian campaign, for instance, seeks to influence opinion on Syria by promoting Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian president and a Russian ally in the brutal conflict there. The New Knowledge report, which was obtained by the New York Times in advance of its scheduled release Monday, is one of two commissioned by the Senate committee on a bipartisan basis. They are based largely on data about the Russian operations provided to the Senate by Facebook, Twitter, and other companies whose platforms were used. The second report was written by the Computational Propaganda Project at Oxford University, along with Graphica, a company that specializes in analyzing social media, blah, 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 blah. So, let's get to the part about Bernie Sanders. Of 81 Facebook pages created by the Internet Research Agency in the Senate's data, 30 targeted African American audiences, amassing 1.2 million followers, the report finds. By comparison, 25 pages targeted the political right and drew 1.4 million followers. Just 7 pages focused on the political left, drawing 689,045 followers. While the right-wing pages promoted Mr. Trump's candidacy, the left-wing Russian pages scorned Mrs. Clinton while promoting Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate. The voter suppression effort was focused particularly on Sanders supporters and African Americans, urging them to shun Mrs. Clinton in the general election and either vote for Miss Stein or stay home. Oh, dear God, Mother of Moses. Make it stop. Can you make it stop, the 140 people watching? Can you make it stop? Because I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I mean, Flint is still poisoned almost 5 years later. You have Republican legislatures in Michigan and Wisconsin literally stripping the democratically elected governor of Michigan, newly elected governor of Wisconsin, stripping them of their powers because the Republicans lost the election. You have water contamination spreading to North Carolina and other states, which I just showed you yesterday. You have minimum wage increases that were voted on being rolled back in some states. You literally have ballot measures that are being passed by you, the voter, being overturned by state legislatures across this country, like real attacks on democracy. Yet we continually need to hear about the Russian operation that brainwashed America into not voting for a corporate warmongering neoliberal. And by the way, can I just make something clear, because I'm going to be attacked and I already am. I don't like Donald Trump. I would like Donald Trump to lose the 2020 campaign. I don't want him impeached because, frankly, I think Mike Pence is a lot worse than Donald Trump. I think a lot of these people saying impeach Donald Trump, they need to go to Indiana and talk to some people, because Mike Pence is a lot worse than Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is very dangerous. I think Donald Trump is an authoritarian. I think Donald Trump is racist. I think Donald Trump is dangerous for America. And I do not think you're going to defeat Donald Trump in 2020 with more neoliberalism. So 2 things could be true. You could really be against Donald Trump. You could be willing to report critically on Donald Trump. I don't report on Donald Trump as much as other people do because I'm not in this just for clickbait and bullshit. And I report on other things because I think I'm not adding much to the party here by being the 250,000th person this hour to report on what Donald Trump tweeted. So I think Donald Trump's terrible, but you could think that while also thinking propaganda and nonsense is terrible. And this is propaganda. So let me explain to you, not that I need to explain to you because you guys are super smart watching. And remember, this is a super chat. So remember, if you're feeling super, let me know. I know a lot of you left money yesterday, so if you're tapped out, that's fine. But let me just tell you, okay? I traveled starting in 2015 all the way through 2016 and 2017. I covered majority Donald Trump rallies. I covered majority Bernie Sanders rallies. I covered some Hillary Clinton rallies. I covered one or two Ted Cruz rallies. Covered a Kasich rally, but predominantly I covered Trump and Bernie. Okay? I have interviewed probably in 2016, I probably in total interviewed between 1,000 and 1,500 people on the road. At these rallies, at debates, at conventions, all that. Okay? This is not to tell you, this isn't to brag. I'm telling you just my experience. So you know that I'm not giving you opinions based on no facts, based on no observation, based on not having been in the field speaking with these people. Okay? So I've already told you why Trump supporters actually voted for Donald Trump. Now, this notion, and by the way, let's be clear what they're doing. They are trying to make it seem like Bernie Sanders supporters, because a lot of them did not vote for Hillary Clinton. They're trying to make it seem like Bernie Sanders supporters or Jill Stein supporters voted for Bernie Sanders or chose not to vote for Hillary Clinton because they were brainwashed by Russia. Like, do you realize how preposterous that is? Do you realize how preposterous that is? So let me tell you why Bernie Sanders supporters did not vote for Hillary Clinton in the general election. Okay? And I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but let's just remind you, okay? First of all, many Bernie Sanders supporters volunteered for his campaign. Many Bernie Sanders supporters donated money to his campaign. Many of them, many times. Many Bernie Sanders supporters became active in politics for the first time because Bernie Sanders inspired them. Many of them were never into politics before. And many of them, after that, they found out that the Democratic National Committee, in collusion, actual collusion, that word, collusion, worked with the Hillary Clinton campaign to sabotage Bernie Sanders' campaign, decided, well, we don't actually have fair elections. We don't actually have a democracy. You have a supposed to be neutral Democratic National Committee that literally worked with Hillary Clinton as far back as 2015, before Bernie even ran. Before Bernie even announced his run, the DNC was already crafting memos on how Hillary Clinton can win the presidency. A lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, I'm sure many of you in the live chat, chose not to vote for Hillary Clinton in the general election because they stole the election. They stole the election from Bernie. Why would you vote for someone who was complicit and an accomplice to rigging the primary? Like, that generally doesn't inspire you to go vote for someone when they and their campaign worked with the DNC and the Obama administration, by the way, to sabotage Bernie Sanders' campaign. Thank you, Baby Gerald, $20 in the super chat. Big thanks, Jordan, Jen, and Ty. I'll join the Status Quo membership after the holidays. Until then, here's a small contribution towards that $30,000. Can't thank you enough, Baby Gerald, and can't thank everybody enough. We hope you are able to buy your kids and your family and your workers or whoever you're trying to get holiday gifts for this holiday season. We hope you're able to do that and then become members to Status Quo. Preferably become members to Status Quo now, but if you can't, after the holidays, we get it. And by the way, if anybody can research if there's any such thing as a Hanukkah Harry costume, if you guys could find a Hanukkah Harry costume, because I want to order it and wear it this Sunday for my Sunday super duper chat marathon. I want to dress like Hanukkah Harry this Sunday to get into the holiday spirit, because I am a Jew. So that was the first reason Bernie Sanders supporters, many of them, did not, as the media said, come home to Hillary and vote for her in the general election. You know what another reason they didn't come home and vote for her in the general election? She picked Tim Kaine as her vice president. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so, this is how that conversation went. This is how that conversation went. Hillary and her brain trust. Well, those Bernie supporters are kind of pissed, so we got to give them something. And Hillary's like, I'm not giving them anything. They'll come around. I'd like to pick Henry Kissinger as my vice president. Henry Kissinger? Are you crazy, Hillary? All right, we'll pick Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine is about as inspiring as a carrot. Tim Kaine is about as progressive as broccoli. I know, I'm terrible with the analogies. Tim Kaine is pro-war. Tim Kaine was pro-TPP. Tim Kaine is pro-Wall Street deregulation. He voted for all that. Tim Kaine, I believe, was pro-Iraq. I mean, Tim Kaine is Hillary Clinton with different parts. She could have picked Bernie. She could have picked Elizabeth Warren. I know a lot of people have problems with Elizabeth Warren, but would have been a lot better than Tim Kaine. She could have picked Sherrod Brown. She could have picked anyone with a heartbeat. That would be better than Tim Kaine. So, you want to... Jay says, yeah, Jordan, don't insult vegetables like that. They could be good for you, not like Tim Kaine. That's a good point. And by the way, I'm going to make myself broccoli after this live stream. Last night I had bad food. I had delicious food last night. I had empanadas after my 8-hour live stream. So now I have to be healthy tonight. Thank you, Jen. Jen is always wonderful in this live stream, but now she's offering carrot emojis. So not only did Hillary Clinton's campaign rig the primary, but then they picked basically another neocon who is even more to the right of her for vice president. Yeah, that's a way to get Bernie Sanders supporters out there to vote for you. Like, are you kidding me? And then, whatever you want to say, if you think Russia hacked the DNC in Podesta, if you think, there's some evil global conspiracy, whatever you think, WikiLeaks releasing these Podesta emails in September and October, I know because I read probably hundreds of them, and if you remember when I was at the Young Turks, tweeted them out in real time. WikiLeaks wasn't like informing Bernie Sanders supporters of anything they didn't already know about Hillary Clinton. I always said when I was at the Young Turks and I was on the campaign trail, the smartest voters that I found at these rallies were certainly not Trump voters. Were definitely not Hillary's voters, but Bernie voters. Many of them younger, but a lot of them older. Majority of them always did their homework. And by the way, guys, now that you're seeing, we have 110 likes. As a result, the audience is going up. So the more people that like the live stream, the more the audience goes up. So please, 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 if you haven't pressed the like button on this live stream, do so now, because for whatever reason, YouTube's algorithm works. When you press that like button, it gets seen by more people. So, WikiLeaks, of course, it angered people, but it's not like WikiLeaks and releasing these emails was informing Bernie Sanders supporters that Hillary Clinton was corrupt. Like they didn't know Hillary Clinton was corrupt. You want to know how I know this? Because I interviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Bernie supporters. They knew Hillary Clinton's record. They knew Hillary Clinton's donors. They knew Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation's questionable donors. They knew that she was using her office of Secretary of State to basically enrich lobbyists. They knew that she had pushed fracking around the world as Secretary of State. They knew that she had pushed the sale of weapons to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is now using those weapons to commit genocide in Yemen. I know a fat guy. Wow, you're still at it. I am. And I have a cold, by the way. I am sick. I have a cold. You should have seen me before I went live. I downed myself. I took Dayquil. I blew my nose 25 times. I took emergency. And I'm here for you, the viewer. So I hope you could be here for us, status quo, let us know if you're feeling super in that super chat. Or the GoFundMe, that is. We are trying to hit 30,000 by the end of this year in the GoFundMe. So it's just preposterous, this whole article. You know, it's just a way for them to basically have a Trojan horse and say, well, you know, people, it's not that people don't like, basically what the New York Times and CNN and MSNBC is trying to say is it's not that people don't like neoliberal politics. It's not that people don't like crumbs. It's not that people don't like endless war. It's not that people don't like fracking. It's not that people don't like, $12 minimum wage rather than $15 minimum wage. It's not that people don't like pragmatism. It's not that people don't like droning half the world. It's not that people don't like taking money from fossil fuel companies that are destroying this world. It's that they were brainwashed by Russia. Geez, why didn't I know that? Denise Columbia says, we're just stupid and easily led by foreign operatives, of course. And you know who loved this story from the New York Times? Take a guess who is tweeting today. Jen sent it to me. Take a guess who is tweeting today. She's ecstatic. I'll give you a hint. It's a she. She's ecstatic. She's ecstatic by this report. Take a guess. Oh, Christian, you got it on the first try. Christian Trejo, you got it on the first try. Here's what our friend Neera Tanden, friend of Status Quo, of course, says. Jake Tapper tweeted, the voter suppression effort was focused particularly on Sanders supporters and African Americans, urging them to shun Mrs. Clinton in the general election and either vote for Trump or Jill Stein. Or either vote for Jill Stein. I think the continuation of that was vote for Jill Stein or stay home. Neera Tanden says, I could tweet this 1,000 times. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't. And by the way, Neera, Jen Dyes is digging into your Center for American Progress. We're going to have a follow-up report to her wonderful report yesterday. So stay tuned for that, because, does the Center for American Progress, boy, do they have some interesting donors. Boy, do they have money, take money from some interesting donors, some interesting countries. Are we going to dig into that, Neera? I know. I'm a sexist for not liking neoliberal hacks. So Neera Tanden, she could tweet this out 1,000 times. It's interesting because Neera Tanden is a Jen, right? She's a woman of color, I believe. She's a woman of color. So Neera Tanden is endorsing a concept that essentially African Americans are stupid. She's endorsing a concept that African Americans, essentially, the reason they didn't come out for Hillary as much as they would have otherwise is because they were brainwashed by Russian trolls. By the way, this video and this report, I'm not saying that Russians didn't try to influence the election. There were Russian trolls on Facebook. There were Russian trolls on Instagram. There were Russian trolls. So, yeah, there were. But this concept that they swayed voters, they swayed Bernie voters, they swayed African Americans, they swayed the voters in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Ohio. There's no data that even comes close to backing that up. It's such a vague, stupid concept. DS, apparently I'm a Russian troll and I'm from New Zealand. It's possible. And by the way, you know who I think has just as toxic of an effect as trolls? There's a group called Correct the Record. It's a Hillary Clinton super PAC. They are an army of paid trolls. They're an army of paid trolls. And they come out and put out distortions. They put out lies. They put out facts. They put out lies. They put out phony baloney, out of context nonsense to try and defame to try and defame Bernie Sanders. They've gone after Nina Turner. They've gone after Tulsi Gabbard. They go after Noam Chomsky. So Russians aren't the only one with trolls. By the way, the United States government has trolls that they dispense in other countries. The United States government has interfered in Russia's election. I did an interview with Rolling Stone's Matt Taibbi. He was a journalist in Russia during the 1996 election. The United States swung that election for Boris Yeltsin. Thank you, XARLOZM, $10 in the super chat. Thank you. Not to mention, I mean, you got Israel and their lobbyists influencing the United States election. You got Saudi Arabia, but it's Russia brainwashing black people and Bernie supporters. I mean, the whole thing is just so preposterous. I don't know where to start. It's just so ridiculous. And by the way, just so you know who authored the report, who authored this report? The New Knowledge cybersecurity firm. What does New Knowledge do? Our tech analyzes conversations from across multiple platforms, blah, 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 blah. So its founder, what further distinguishes New Knowledge is that its founders are AI and Homeland Security experts who grew up in the NSA. So this report that they're basing all of this on is from former NSA people, former people in the government. The founder of New Knowledge, his name's Jonathan Morgan. He served as an advisor to the White House and the State Department, co-authored the ISIS Twitter census for the Brookings Institution, and develops new technology with the Defense Advanced Research Project, which is an agency of the United States Defense Department. State Department. They developing counterterrorism strategies and understanding what public discourse looks like online. Co-founder, Ryan Fox. Ryan spent 15 years at the NSA championing blah, 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 blah. So you got this report was basically written by ex-State Department and NSA workers. Katie Geek. I think that's 20 pounds. I'm just a Brit. Thank you. 20 pounds in the super chat. I'm just a Brit that has been watching your excellent work since 2016. And the fact you have to raise funds this way while Rachel Maddow is the conspiracy nut warmonger is a millionaire pisses me off. Hey, Katie, it pisses me off too. It pisses me off big time. But this is the world we live in. Stupidity, propaganda, lies are rewarded because our media is not even journalism anymore. It's corporate-funded stenography. It's corporate-funded public relations for the CIA, the FBI, Homeland Security, and corporations. That's what Rachel Maddow does every night. It's corporate stenography. And actual independent journalists that want to go out in the field and cover actual stories, like American citizens being poisoned and then left to die in Flint, or another water crisis in North Carolina, Indiana, Ohio. Just every state has water problems right now. It's crazy. Or black men being executed by police officers, mostly white police officers. The minimum wage fights, ballot measures that pass by the voters being overturned by state legislatures. I mean, I could go on. We have actual stomping on our democracy going on, yet all we hear about 24/7 is Russia. And the fact that Rachel Maddow makes, what does she make, like $30,000 a show? I mean, I don't really care because obviously I want to make a living and we want to grow status quo so that we could get out in the field, and I need to eat and Jen needs to eat and Ty needs to eat, and we want to hire other reporters. I told you yesterday, if it were up to me, I would hire someone like Aaron Maté. We just don't have the funding right now to do it. That's the truth. But it's insane. Creative Experiment says, Jordan, I still remember you reporting from Dakota Access and prisoners were sexually harassed. #MeToo hasn't done close to the work you've done. I agree. And by the way, a little bit more about new knowledge. Oh, did I not put it in? Hold on. Here's Ben Norton. This breaking New York Times report blaming Russia for working class people not liking neoliberal capitalist Hillary Clinton is based on a report by bogus cybersecurity company New Knowledge, which is run by U.S. government flacks who spread conspiracy theories blaming Putin for protests. Dear God. I mean, it literally takes like me, Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald, Aaron Mate, Ben Norton. There's so few people putting out facts. And the corporate media just breathlessly regurgitates these, quote, reports by, as Ben Norton said, essentially these reports are coming straight out of the U.S. government. These aren't like independent cybersecurity firms. They're firms with ex-NSA and State Department workers. Definitely follow Benjamin Norton if you want any sense on this. But this is what we're going to hear. This is what we're going to hear heading into 2020. That, Hillary Clinton lost because of Russia. And Russia is brainwashing Americans. And the reason Bernie Sanders even had a movement in the first place is because Russians, they're using this term, sowed discord. Sowed discord. Well, let me tell you something. Because I was there. And most of these idiots saying this on Twitter and in corporate media weren't. They're in a studio or in their mother's basement, in the case of the people on Twitter. Do you know why Bernie Sanders had a movement? Because millions of people are fed up with living paycheck to paycheck. Because millions of people are fed up having to work 2 to 3 jobs to afford their shitty apartment or shitty house. Because millions of people are fed up, worried if they'll be able to afford health care for themselves and their children. Because millions of people are fed up and downright desperate to get out of their student loan debt. Because millions of people are deathly afraid that the planet is burning. Because millions of people are tired of having to choose between the electric bill or groceries, between medication or the electric bill. Because millions of people understand that climate change is coming from insane things like fracking and insane things like carbon emissions and insane things. Just insanity and our bought off government. Millions of people are fed up with their jobs being sold to China and Mexico because the United States government has allowed banks and corporations to write free trade deals. I mean, you can't make this shit up. This is why we're telling you, become a member of Status Quo. Because we need to get out in the field and expose these things. I just put the link in. Go check it out. You can become a member as low as $5 a month if you want. This is why. Because you have propagandists. And by the way, CNN, the New York Times, they have a financial incentive. To maintain the status quo. They have a financial incentive to keep people and candidates like Hillary Clinton in office. They have a financial incentive to keep people like Bernie Sanders out of the White House because they are owned by multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates. Multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates that don't want taxes to go up on wealthy people, that don't want taxes to go up on corporations, that don't want subsidies for banks, oil companies, and pharmaceutical companies to go away, that don't want tighter regulations on the media industry or the banking industry or the pharmaceutical industry or the fossil fuel industry. Thank you, Kimberly. Yes, we have had extra viewers lately, and part of that is because more people are liking the live stream. So we got 140 people, 145 people have liked this live stream. As a result, viewership is going up. That's why I give you the checklist. Remember, as soon as you get here, press that like button, because the more people that like the video, the live stream, the more viewers we get. For whatever reason, YouTube and their stupidity, and they're suppressing the hell out of this channel. But so right now, unless they change it, their algorithm works in a way that if you press like and more people like a live stream, more people then see the live stream in YouTube's feed. I don't know why it is that way, but that's how it works. So if you haven't liked it, like it. But I got to tell you, I'm sick and tired of hearing about Russia. I'm sick and tired of, the corporate media sitting here pretending. Now they're basically putting out that less black people came out. More black people didn't come out for Hillary Clinton because they were brainwashed by Russia. More Bernie supporters chose not to vote for Hillary Clinton because they were brainwashed by Russia. Well, that's just not true. That is just not true. Period. And yes, Colin said, make sure you put in your calendar a reminder. I'm live every single day, 5 p.m. Eastern. Put it in to remind you on a daily basis. I'm live 5 p.m. Eastern, because you cannot rely on YouTube to notify you. Maybe they notify people 30% of the time at this point. So the more people who set a calendar reminder, 5 o'clock every single day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Sunday for Super Chat marathons. Unfortunately, you have to notify yourself because YouTube ain't going to do it. So, one more story today. Actually, you know what? Let's see. I want to show you a little behind the scenes video. This is the kind of stuff you're going to get if you become a member to Status Quo. So, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but here is a video I shot over the weekend showing you a little bit of the behind the scenes to preparing for the Sunday live streams. Here we go. Here we not go, because it's, for whatever reason, not showing up, so I digress. I'll show you tomorrow. Oh, that's what happens when I don't have a director or like somebody to operate the live stream while I'm live. I have to report and operate the live stream simultaneously. So, unfortunately, when things go wrong, they go wrong. But whatever. So, I'll show you that video tomorrow. But again, if you become a member, you have access to all the bonus content right now. So there's the membership link. I think we're at 51 members. And there's the GoFundMe link if you want to leave. We're trying to get to 30,000 by the end of this year. We're about 2,400 something away. Tara May, $2 in the super chat. I'd rather watch Jordan Buffer than Chuck Todd in HD. Ugh. Tell me about it. Chuck Todd is terrible. I don't even bother watching him anymore. It's painful. So, not only are the Russians brainwashing us, but now, according to CNN, Joe Biden is leading the pack. They did their poll, and Joe Biden is leading the pack. Well, Joe Biden, he's so wise that I think anyone could beat Donald Trump. I think anyone could beat Donald Trump. Former Vice President Joe Biden believes that anyone could beat President Trump in 2020. While speaking at a recent event promoting his new book, American Promise, Biden said, "I think I'm the most qualified person in the country to be president." After delivering an address at the Lantos Foundation 10th Anniversary Gala, where he was recognized with the Legacy Award, Biden was asked specifically by The Intercept why he thinks he's the most qualified person to take on Trump. "You don't run for president unless you think you are qualified," Biden replied. "Why do you think you could beat Donald Trump? Why is this your time?" the former Delaware senator was asked. "I think anybody could beat Biden." That's good questions from The Intercept. Biden has said that he expects to make a decision on entering the 2020 race within the next 2 months, blah, 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 blah. Speaking of awards, let's not forget that Joe Biden literally recently gave George W. Bush a Liberty Award. Joe Biden recently gave George W. Bush, a war criminal, a Liberty Award. So just let that sink in for a minute. So Joe Biden thinks that anybody could beat Donald Trump. Wouldn't that be nice if anybody in the country could beat Donald Trump? I don't know if he's being intentionally stupid or intentionally obtuse, or he's just really, really dumb. Because I got news for you. And by the way, for some reason, this happens on YouTube a lot. Your stream will be super clear, no buffering, super clear. And then all of a sudden you start talking too much truth. And all of a sudden the stream starts buffering, or the picture becomes very pixelated. It's almost like YouTube has a room with a switch and humans operating that switch. And they monitor certain channels. And if certain channels are talking about things they don't like, all of a sudden the stream starts buffering. All of a sudden the stream becomes pixelated. And by the way, I'm on Ethernet in my apartment right now. There should be there's no reason this stream should be pixelated. None at all. I'm on Ethernet. Pay a lot of money per month for good internet. So, isn't that interesting? Russia did it, Joe says. So, I got to tell you, Mr. Biden, Vice President Biden, the fact that you're saying anybody could beat Donald Trump is kind of the thought that got us Donald Trump in the first place. The entire media, the entire political class underestimated Donald Trump. In 2014, the first polls, how they're having polls now in 2018 for 2020. At the same time, in 2014, Donald Trump wasn't even in the polls. So, I got news for you, Biden. I think there's only one person in this entire country that, if the election were held today, would 100%, not even 99%, 100% beat Donald Trump. He's a 77-year-old socialist from Vermont. His name's Senator Bernie Sanders, and the data backs that up. It is not definite that Joe Biden would beat Donald Trump. It is certainly not definite that Beto O'Rourke, corporate media's new love child, Obama 2.0. Obama 2.0. It's not definite that Beto O'Rourke would beat Donald Trump. It's not definite that Elizabeth Warren would beat Donald Trump. It's not definite that Kamala Harris would beat Donald Trump. It's not definite that Kirsten Gillibrand would beat Donald Trump. It's not definite that Cory Booker would beat Donald Trump. I would venture to say it's pretty definite that Cory Booker would lose. I think Kamala Harris would lose. I think Kirsten Gillibrand would lose. And I think Joe Biden would lose. Because Joe Biden has an equal to not, his record is equal, if not worse, than Hillary Clinton. And that's going to come out because people are smart. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill that has created the mass incarceration in this country. He wrote the crime bill. And in 2016, when interviewed, he said he doesn't regret it at all. Joe Biden voted for NAFTA. Joe Biden voted to deregulate Wall Street. Joe Biden voted for welfare reform. Joe Biden voted for the Iraq War. Joe Biden voted to deregulate the media industry. Joe Biden has voted for tax cuts for wealthy people. Joe Biden was for the TPP. I mean, he has voted for all the awful things that Hillary Clinton supported and Bill Clinton pushed or passed. He's not a progressive. He's a Republican. Baby Gerald says Biden is a Republican with a friendly smile. So, I would love to see Donald Trump lose, but this casual arrogance, anybody could beat Donald Trump. You're underestimating Donald Trump, but more importantly, you're underestimating the fervent base that Donald Trump has in this country. You are underestimating the very fervent, in many cases, very, very deranged, in many cases, very, very misinformed and uninformed base that Donald Trump has. Yes, the Democrats did very well in the midterms, but that's the midterms. We're talking about a national presidential election. And if the Democrats run another pro-war, neoliberal, pro-free trade, pro-pragmatism presidential candidate, you better prepare yourself for 4 more years of Donald Trump if he doesn't resign or isn't impeached with all of his other stuff. And I think that's really, really arrogant talk by Joe Biden. I think that's really, really misinformed talk by Joe Biden. And I think that's really, really dangerous talk by Joe Biden. Because Donald Trump is not going to be easy to beat. I think Bernie will beat him. Because Bernie, I think, would win those states. Wisconsin, which he won in the Democratic primary. I think he would win Michigan, which he won in the Democratic primary. I think he could win Ohio. I think he could win Pennsylvania. Because Bernie Sanders speaks to those workers. And by the way, Bernie Sanders, as I showed you yesterday, a recent Gallup poll, Bernie Sanders is 54% favorable rating with independents. Bernie Sanders, 78% favorable rating with Democrats. Bernie Sanders, 64% favorability with non-whites. Oh, but I thought Bernie Sanders can't get black voters. Well, he's at 64% favorability with non-whites. He's at 49% among whites, 64% among non-whites. He's at 59% favorability among 18 to 34. That would be millennials. 58% favorability among age 35 to 54, middle-aged people. And very, very, very noticeably, he's at 45% favorability rating among 55 and older. 55 and older is the older crowd that voted for Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders didn't do as well with them. Well, 45% favorability rating is not so bad among 55 and older. 64% among non-whites is damn good. And 54% among independents, which you need independents to win a general election. That's what wins people the presidency, getting independent voters. Bernie Sanders is at 54%. Joe Biden does not have the numbers. Bernie Sanders does. Kelly Elaine, my 80-year-old Republican mom likes Sanders. There's a lot of Republican voters that like Sanders. Exhausted 11. Beto, Biden, all the corporate Dems, go away. I concur. So, folks, that's it for today. I enjoyed debunking the propaganda brought to you by the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and the corporate media and the corporate government, because we don't live in the United States of America, we live in the United Corporations of America. I will be live tomorrow, 5 o'clock, like every day. And remember, go to statuscoup.com. Check out our options. You can become a member at $5 a month. You can become a member at $10 a month. This is how we're going to create a media revolution. I talked to you yesterday during our Sunday marathon about what I mean by a media revolution. We need a media revolution. You need to be part of it. It's not enough to just crap on the corporate media. It's not enough to just press the share button. And what are you going to get as part of that media revolution? What do you get out of it? Besides great bonus content, you get great content. For $5 a month, you'll be a status slayer. You'll get our podcast. You'll get behind-the-scenes video diaries from me, Jen, Ty. You'll get members-only email newsletters with original reporting that you won't see anywhere else. For $10 a month, you get all that with extra behind-the-scenes photos, extra behind-the-scenes videos from the field. You're going to get extra behind-the-scenes content from our documentary that we're doing and other documentaries. You'll be invited to a monthly video call with me, where I take you truly behind the scenes and probably tell you some stuff I shouldn't. So you get all that, but most importantly, you get to support independent media and you get to be informed about what's actually happening in this country in the field. We're not trying to grow membership. We're not trying to raise money so that we could come to you from the comfy confines of our homes. I can't be in the field 24/7, but we are going to be the only outlet out there covering the Flint-type stories, the Standing Rocks of the world. We are going to be the ones out there covering water contamination when no one's covering it. We are going to be the ones challenging local and state politicians that are selling you down the river to corporations and fossil fuel companies. We are going to be in the field, and I'm not just telling you, I've shown you. I've shown you what we're going to do. So I really hope you'll consider becoming a member. And yes, Duder 1969 said, "Yo, Jordan, I'm a Patreon. Does that make me a member?" Yes. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you don't have to do anything. You're still going to get our content. You're still going to get the same content we're uploading for members. The Patreon subscribers get also. We are. If people aren't patrons, we're hoping. If someone's not a patron, we would prefer them to become members through our site, because Patreon takes a little bit more of a percentage than our site does. And Patreon, we're starting to see some things we don't like from Patreon. They're starting to kick certain people off that, even though I don't agree with those people's politics, I don't think should be getting kicked off of Patreon. I think it's a slippery slope, and I don't like that they're kicking and deplatforming people off of Patreon. And even if you can't become a member, yet, just go to statuscoup.com. Check out our content. Enter your email, because we also want to grow our email list. We're not going to send you 25 emails a week asking for money. We're not going to send you emails reading you bedtime stories. We're not going to create a private server in our basement and send you emails from it. Sorry, I had to. Had to do it. There will be no private server in my basement. But successful companies have a very, very big email list. Successful companies have paid members that support them on a monthly basis so they can continue to go out and do what they want to do and do what they have to do. Kelly Elaine, that's a very, very good comment, because we've heard from several people that they want to contribute more than $10 a month. So we are going to create a higher level. Jen and I are talking about that right now. So we are going to create a higher level. So don't you worry, Kelly. You guys are free. And by the way, for now, if you want to leave more, go fund me. Exhausted. Any idea when you could hit the road? First of all, not yet, because Ty is busy finishing the documentary. But I think we're going to be able to hit the road probably. I don't want to give an exact number, but I think we're going to hit the road if we raise another $5,000 to $10,000. Right now, I want to focus on raising as much money as possible because we don't want to just hit the road once, come home, and then not be able to go on the road again for several months. We want to be able to hit the road and stay out there. Go to one place and then go to another place. So I don't want to give you an exact date, but we're trying to grow this thing to 50,000. We're over halfway past we're over the halfway point. I'm terrible at math, but we need $23,000 or 22,000 something dollars to hit 50,000. I think we're going to do it. But in the short term, every overall goal, you have to set mini goals. So our overall goal is 50,000. The end of this year, we want to hit 30,000 on our GoFundMe. So if you're already tapped out, if you left money yesterday, if you've left money in the past, we understand. Definitely tell your friends, tell your family, send them the content, tell them if they can, pitch in for real reporting. Because water is not a partisan issue. Water is not a partisan issue. The planet, not a partisan issue. A lot of conservatives, you'd be surprised, care about their water and the planet and corruption. We actually do have quite a few. We do have a considerable amount of conservatives that watch us. They troll us, but they still watch us. And in many cases, they like what we're reporting. So, that's it, folks. I'll see you again every day, 5 o'clock Eastern time. And remember, most people are not lacking compassion. Most people have no effing clue what the hell is going on in this country. Peace out.